how will the future police workforce look?
The future of law enforcement lies in technology.
It is a perfect amalgamation of technology with human effort.
We are very good in responding. Preparing for the future is something completely different.
Now inspect it again.
For a country like India, which is overpopulated, law enforcement are understaffed, overworked, technology becomes a boon.
VR allows us to take our officers into a deeper level of training.
Now we are building our own 3D forensics lab here in Dubai Police.
It's all about data, data, data.
All technology, it could be used for good or evil.
The Big Brother is watching not on you but for you.
AI could be used on a multitude of things. It's just how do you kind of make sure that the data you're getting gets smarter and the machine you're using gets smarter.
What I see at the moment, that developments are so quickly that the police needs to be in a constant change of adjusting. It's not only being innovative, it's also constantly apply the innovation to your daily practices.
Bangalore is the glitz and glamour city, the megapolis, the IT capital, the Silicon Valley of the East, where the tech industry, the major part of the tech industry is set up in India. So what happens is, it's very easy to show you that Bangalore dream, that you'll get a job in Bangalore very easily. A lot of movement in terms of bonded labor, child trafficking for prostitution, child trafficking for organ trade also moves around in Bangalore. Since railways is a platform for traveling throughout the country, it is fast, it is cheap, and it connects the entire length and breadth of the nation from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from Impahal to Rajasthan. It is being used by 23 million people in a day. So in case of trafficking, if you see, why railways is more vulnerable is also because it's open, it's porous from all the sides.
सावधान, सभी लोग ड्यूटी के लिए रेडी है? किसी को कुछ प्रॉब्लम? नहीं सर। अभी आज हमारा ड्यूटी बेंगलोर कंटोनमेंट रेलवे स्टेशन पे है। जैसा आप सभी लोगों को पता है, हमारी जो टीम है, ये एंटी वुमेन ट्रैफिकिंग डेडिकेटेड टीम है।
हमारा जो काम है, बच्चे इंक्लूडिंग गर्ल्स, बॉयज़, उन महिलाओं को उनको रेस्क्यू करना है।
We have started this operation called Operation Nanne Farishte. It's basically an anti-human trafficking operation, the first of its kind in railways. What we did was we formed dedicated child rescue teams, trained them with international agencies as well as national agencies, both in terms of technology and also augmenting their skills. How to identify the victims of trafficking as well as identifying traffickers who will be moving around in the platforms in the guard of passengers.
ये कौन है आपके? कौन है ये बच्चे आपके? आप ये आपके टीचर हैं? कुछ प्रॉब्लम तो नहीं है? हैं?
कहाँ से आए?
बंगाल से
बंगाल से? क्यों? क्या हो गया?
घूमने के लिए।
पुष्पेंद्र सर प्लीज कम ऑनलाइन।
आप लोग साथ में हैं? नहीं। फिर कौन है आपके साथ में? ये किस लिए लेके आए हो इसको? इसको किस लिए लेके आए हो?
घूमने लेके आए।
कौन हो तुम इसके? क्या हो तुम इसके?
चाचा अंकल है ना।
क्या काम कराओगे इससे? क्या काम करेगा ये?
काम नहीं करेगा।
हैं?
काम नहीं।
नरेंद्र विश्वकर्मा कम ऑनलाइन।
सर सर आनंद थोड़ा इधर आइए।
क्या घर में प्रॉब्लम है कुछ? काम करने के लिए आए? इनको बच्चों को थोड़ा लेके जाओ, इंक्वायरी करेंगे।
What we understood was we were the immediate responders and we could intervene at a point where the exploitation part has not happened. So before the child is brought there for bonded labor, trafficking, whatever, sex trade, before that we can intervene. What we found out was that we need some coherent mechanisms at place and mechanisms of not only manpower but also intervention in terms of technology. Next
For a country like India, which is overpopulated and law enforcement are understaffed, overworked, technology becomes a boon. And face recognition as such, it can actually change the paradigm of human trafficking menace. So we really jumped on this opportunity and we believe that our technology can actually help in this regard. And so that's how we partnered with the railways to provide them a technology platform.
फेस टैगर ऐप है मोबाइल में हमारे, उससे हम बच्चे को फ़ोटो लेते हैं। फ़ोटो लेने के बाद में हम लोग आइडेंटिफाई करते हैं, हम लोग चेक करते हैं कि बच्चे के रिगार्डिंग में कोई मिसिंग कंप्लेंट तो लॉज नहीं है। फेस टैगर का यूज़ करने से हमें पता चल जाता है कि अगर बच्चे के रिगार्डिंग में कोई मिसिंग कंप्लेंट लॉज हुई है तो इमीडिएटली हम लोग उसको ट्रैक कर सकते हैं और कंसर्न पुलिस स्टेशन को फिर हम लोग कॉन्टैक्ट कर सकते हैं।
Technology is always a challenge in India in terms of frugality. So you don't actually have expensive equipment can be put on in public places in India for different reasons. It can be the pollution, it can be sheer scale of things and network connectivity in places as well. So those are all challenges which might sound fundamental, but they're all factors for face recognition as well because they need to be connected. They need to have decent equipment in place to make face recognition work. And that's why we have implemented and started using mobile apps. With respect to police, we always believe that if someone can actually use WhatsApp on their phone, they should be able to use our application.
I think the dramatic change which is very much taking place now in law enforcement is the fact, and it sounds very simple, it's a telephone. Most individual police officers, more and more here in Asia, but also in other parts of the world, are equipped with a mobile phone, a phone with apps, a phone which provides them with techniques to immediately identify a suspect, to make photos, to immediately report. So they will be much more effective because they can work straight from their phone. That, and it sounds so simple, is one of the biggest changes in the last 5 years in law enforcement.
वो कौन लड़का है? किसके साथ आया है?
सर यहाँ पे एक बच्चा मिला है।
Okay, madam, just time.
ನಿಂದ ಹೆಸರೇನು ಹೇಳಪ್ಪ?
बेटा क्या नाम है आपका? हैं?
भरत।
भारत, आप कहाँ से आए हो? मम्मी पापा कहाँ हैं? मम्मी पापा कहाँ हैं बेटा?
कन्नड़ है, हिंदी है।
आपका घर कहाँ है? अभी देखो एक बहुत छोटा बच्चा मिला है, आई थिंक इसका एज रहेगा लगभग 7-8 साल इसका एज है। तो ये जो बच्चा मिला है हमें ट्रेन में मिला है, हमारी जो वुमेन कांस्टेबल है उसको मिला है। बच्चा बिल्कुल सिंगल मिला है। या तो बच्चा हो सकता है पेरेंट्स से बिछड़ के आया हो या किसी ने बैठा दिया हो कि उसके मतलब थोड़ा इंक्वायरी करने के बाद में वो क्लियर फैक्ट मालूम हो।
For young children, it became very difficult for us to trace their whereabouts. A lot of times children don't know the name of their parents, or they don't know the name of the village or district that they are coming from, and they are very naive and innocent.
ಎರಡನೇ ಕ್ಲಾಸಾ? ಎರಡನೇ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್. ಯಾವ ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಮಗ? ಸ್ಕೂಲ್ ಹೆಸರೇನು ಹೇಳು? ಆಟ ಆಡೋಣ?
A lot of children in their young age, they actually, run out of their houses, and that's also a big, big percentage of people who are missing in India. So, and if they get in the hands of the wrong people, it's very difficult for them to get reunited with their family. So we have about 4.25 lakh plus missing and found children database. We have actually collated it and connected it to Nanya Parishte.
So in face tag we already taken the snap of this child. Yeah, 77% is matching, but little bit features are same, slightly same. But we are confirming while asking him only, because he know very well where that photo has to be taken. He know very well.
So in terms of children, there is a challenge because you don't know when they are lost. So the kids can actually, be older than that. They're missing photographs, maybe 10 years older than when they were found. So we always keep a leniency in our inference engine so that the humans can actually infer what it is with other details which may have.
If the face tagger gives us a match, like in the case of the Guwahati child, face tagger gave a 76% or 78% match for the child. We look immediately at the missing report, where the missing report has been registered, and we immediately contact the parents.
See, technology is an enabler. So I always believe that technology can actually, by itself, can't solve a problem. But combined with the human intelligence, it can actually do wonders. So when someone is actually identified quickly, reunited with their families, then the whole ROI of human trafficking is broken. When that is broken, it's not a business anymore, right? So that's what we want to do.
चलिए ये बताइए इनके पापा का नाम क्या है?
पापा का नाम तो मेरे को उतना पता नहीं है।
देखा, पकड़ लिया आपने।
अगर सगा होता तो पता चलता।
मेरे को ऐसा लग रहा है कि ये इसका रिलेटिव 100% नहीं है।
Sometimes in few horrific cases we have found that the families are also involved.
गाड़ी खड़े होने दो।
2 घंटे रुकता है, आराम से जाओ, भाग के नहीं जाना।
ब्रिज के ऊपर जैसे करते हैं ना यहाँ पे, हाँ उधर ही चले जाइए आप।
What we always feel is that these children that we are rescuing is the tip of the iceberg. All the human trafficking, anti-human trafficking operations that we run on the field, it's almost like looking for a pin in a haystack. It's almost like hit and trial method. We've in fact got cases of organ trade where kids were being taken by a trafficker who unfortunately was also a lady, and 6, 9 and 13-year-old, 3 kids, all girl child. Basically they were being taken to a particular place where their organs would have been removed. So what we need is a universal eye which can give us pinpointed information, pinpointed data on a real-time basis, and that's why we need to leverage technology, because you can't deploy manpower everywhere, but technology can be a force multiplier. It can be present everywhere and it can have an eye on everything, and at the same time it can give you a feedback whether this person or is suspicious, if this person has been a trafficker.
इनसे पूछो।
कहाँ से आ रहा है? कौन है?
कोई है इनके साथ? चलो चलो।
कौन है ये आपका? भाई है पक्का ना?
खुद का
सगा
भाई?
भैया है, चाचा दादा। एज कितनी होगी?
19।
चलिए आधार कार्ड बताइए ना।
आधार कार्ड दिखाओ।
खुद का भाई है आपका? चाचा का लड़का
2002 में 19 कैसे हो जाएगा?
ये कौन है?
सच सच बताना है, घूमने के लिए आ नहीं सकता।
उनको देखो मत, आप थोड़ा साइड में रहिए ना।
बच्चों को पहले ही जब उधर से लेके आता है उस टाइम ही बच्चों को अच्छे से ब्रीफ कर देता है, उनका ब्रेन वॉश कर देता है। उनको बोलता है कि ये मेरे मामा है या तो मेरे चाचा है, ये आपको बोलना है, और जो है हम घूमने के लिए उधर जा रहे होते हैं।
मकसद क्या है यहाँ आने का? घूमने? क्या क्या घूमना है, क्या देखना है इधर, ये बता मुझे, क्या देखना है, क्या चाहिए? इतना बहुत ट्यून करके रखे है क्या आपने? कुछ मुंह नहीं, मुंह से कुछ बोल नहीं रहा है। पुष्पेंद्र सर, सोमलता कॉलिंग।
हाँ बोलिए मैडम।
सर आप थोड़ा यहाँ पे आ सकते हैं, यहाँ पे एक लड़का मिला है।
क्या आप कमिंग
मतलब ये घूमने आया है करके, इसको कोई यहाँ का जो जगह मालूम ही नहीं है, तो ये कैसे घूमने आएगा? मतलब इनके साथ में कोई ना कोई रहेंगे। मतलब इसका हाथ देखिए, इसका हाथ देखिए, इसमें एक लड़का इससे पहले मेरे से बोल रहा था हम कुछ काम ही नहीं किया हूँ करके। हाँ, इसमें हम थोड़ा एक एक दो ये है पॉइंट्स में हम इसको शक करते हैं, हाँ इसको ट्रैफिकिंग हो रहा है करके। कहाँ काम किया था, ये सब क्या है?
तो हमारा टारगेट फिर हो जाता है कि बच्चे को भी रेस्क्यू करना है, और साथ साथ जिसके साथ में डाउट हो जाता है कि ट्रैफिकर हो सकता है, उसको भी हम लोग छोड़ना नहीं है, उसको भी हम लोग डिटेन करना है।
चलिए ये बताइए, इनकी पापा का नाम क्या है? देखा, पकड़ लिया आपने कि इनके पापा का नाम ये नहीं जानते हैं। अच्छा, इनके पापा का नाम तक आपको याद नहीं है, तो इसको कैसे आप लाए हैं इतना दूर?
ऐसा घुमाओगे फिर अपना दूसरा आदमी जाएगा, उसके साथ में चला जाएगा। ऐसा कुछ नहीं, मैं किधर पे लेके आ गया।
जो ये ऐप यूज़ करने से ये आपसे पता चलता है कि हाँ ये बच्चा मिसिंग है, उसमें इसमें अभी इसका मैच नहीं हो रहा है, मतलब ये कोई कंप्लेंट वगैरह कुछ भी नहीं हुआ है।
चलिए ठीक है, ऑफिस में लेके आइए, इंक्वायरी करते हैं।
मेरे को ऐसा लग रहा है कि ये इसका रिलेटिव 100% नहीं है, एजेंसी वाला है, उसका कोई रिलेटिव वगैरह नहीं है ये।
Sometimes in few horrific cases we have found that the families are also involved because they don't understand the ramifications of it. They think that we are sending the child to earn money, but what exploitation is going to happen to the child, they don't have frankly the judgment to understand that what is going to happen to that poor child. So the transporter needs to be interrogated very well.
एक आदमी का चलेगा ट्रेन में?
पता नहीं मैडम मेरे को।
वहाँ का एड्रेस
क्या काम क्या है?
मैं वेचिसलैंड ऑपरेटर।
ऑपरेटर हैं आप?
उधर बिल्डिंग काम चल रहा है।
आप इसके पापा के पास फ़ोन लगाएंगे?
लगाऊंगा, उसका पापा का नहीं है, मेरा जो है दूसरा भाई।
उनके पापा का बता रहे हैं, उनके घर का जो रहने वाले।
Should this person be in the my person of interest list? Should I, keep an eye on this person coming again and again in the station? How do we know that this person is or has a history sheet of trafficking? There, the technology plays a very important role. They will match it from the database and tell us that see these are so identification of traffickers through CCTV-based FRS is one thing that we are looking at currently, and this is going to play a major role in stopping human trafficking over railways. Currently, we are in the process of installation of a lot of CCTV cameras in our entire Bangalore jurisdiction, where these CCTVs will be having face recognition softwares. We are feeding databases with the list of criminals. If this person has been there in the railway premises, we'll get a pop-up immediately.
If you have a database of current offenders or previous offenders, and you put that in there, you can get that data instantly. If you're looking at people disappearing or solving a crime or whatever, if you can mitigate that risk in 48 hours and respond, then you've kind of won the game. And so all this is helping, all these tools are helping us get there.
तनख्वाह क्या है तेरी? 20,000 रुपए।
If they had an information already available with them on a real-time basis when they are questioning him that this person has a history sheet of such and such things, they have been coming to the station at such and such hour so many times, we can intervene and we can take our respective roles. All the agencies can play their respective roles and stop it from happening. But when the information is not available, then obviously it's like finding a pin in a haystack. We won't be able to intervene if we don't get the analysis done. That analysis is done by only face recognitions.
What I see at the moment, that developments are so quickly that the police needs to be in a constant change of adjusting. It's not only being innovative, it's also constantly apply the innovation to your daily practices. And this is sometimes a problem with innovation, because you can have a good idea, but if it doesn't work with your legal department or with your procurement or the way you buy things in your force, you know, the obstacles are there in the execution of the ideas.
Face recognition in India, as well as the world, is actually going through a lot of pros and cons, debates going on about privacy. India is yet to implement a privacy law. Privacy law will help us, especially companies like us, define where we stand.
I'm always watched, right? I no longer have my freedom, right? What if I'm trying to do something that's personal and somebody gets access to that, right? So the biggest challenge we have in this system is humans. And people say it's technology, it's not. It's humans. If we don't put the right regulation in place and give only certain people access, then that information could potentially be used for harm.
If laws can be done the right way, in a safer way for people, without people panicking about privacy, if it is done right, it can do wonders for this country.
There will be some people who will come and say that the Big Brother is watching when you talk about FRS kind of software, where there's surveillance. But I would say in this case, the Big Brother is watching not on you, but for you.
Printing is a new area. We can literally print anything.
3D printing could also be used in negative ways. There have been identified cases of 3D printed guns where a person has used it to kill someone.
But now we need to know exactly the difference between the real one and the fake one.
3D printing in general is a technology which is commercially used nowadays in printing products in an easy and more reliable and fast way. You can get any product at home using the minimum number of resources. course, the government of the UAE is encouraging the use of 3D printing in different aspects of our life. So 3D printed buildings are one of the new key areas. You can make a building or say a one-story house using a 3D printed concrete technology. 3D printing could also be used in negative ways. One of the identified negative ways of 3D printing is the creation of weapons. There have been identified cases across the world of 3D printed guns where a person has made a 3D printed gun and then has used it to threat people or to kill someone. In conventional weapons, usually they have a known manufacturer. You can identify where it comes from through the serial number that is provided. 3D printed guns usually are from unknown resources, so you don't know how it's been manufactured, who is the person who handled the model, who is the person who has made it, and how it has been brought into the country, whether it's been shipped from abroad or it's been manufactured in-house.
It's very difficult now to track these because you could have a 3D printer at home, you download all the 3D files for it from the internet and then you print it. And each and every house maybe owns a 3D printer could have a gun.
So in here we have a team dedicated to 3D printing forensics. We focus on the reverse engineering of the 3D printing, where we look at how these weapons have been made, also using which technology, and we ultimately look at which printer has been identified as the source for the weapon. So once you have a weapon or trace of a weapon in a crime scene, we could gather the traces, we bring them to the lab, we analyze them under the microscope. 3D printed guns under the microscope will look very differently than a conventional weapon. Most of the 3D printing technology is based on layer-by-layer printing. So once you put it under the microscope, you will see the differences between the lines. And you could measure the dimensions. And knowing these dimensions and comparing them with the different types of printers available in the market, you could relate it to certain types of printers which only use these type of raw materials to manufacture them.
Maybe we cannot prevent it, but at least we can detect it that this shot comes from a plastic gun and it has a certain signature. Maybe we could recognize that this plastic came from a certain printer. The printer has its own fingerprint on it. So we could trace it back to the original printer.
All of these put in together will help us as a team to identify the suspects and ultimately to get into who are the criminals that have committed this crime. Another example of where we use 3D printing technology is looking at fingerprints. Saying if someone copies a fingerprint of a person and print his fingerprint and then use it to access certain types of gate passes or open his smartphone and so on. We've looked at the possibilities with different types of devices and whether this could affect the security of devices in general. And we're also comparing the how accurate a fingerprint based on 3D printing technology could be in relevance to the original one of the person. Could it be like an accuracy more than 90%, lower than that, or so on?
This is a clone of my finger. The scale doesn't matter with me. The most thing that matters is the scale of the fingerprints here between this and this. This will be the same, exactly the same. We took a picture from my finger here and we print it out and then we give it to the 3D machine. It's exactly making this for me, not as my finger, but as my fingerprint. And then we implement my finger on a table and implement this one also on a table, and then we'll analyze the difference between this trace and that trace.
Usually what we do is to compare the visible features in a 3D printed fingerprint and a nominal one. So we see what are the thickness of the lines, what are the dimensions between the lines, and see whether they match or not.
We are now in the research stage. We don't have any cases until now, but we know it's not a research for the future, so we need, as a police, to be several steps ahead of the criminals.
Now we are building our own 3D forensics lab here in Dubai Police, and from this new project we are hoping to extend our capabilities, and we will continue investigating into different types of printers, and also providing new technologies which will help us, and learn how this field of technology is growing, and be ready for anything.
Guys, explosion. VR allows us to take our officers into a deeper level of training.
Several small explosions took place in the Thai capital. The East Java police have announced that 25 people were killed and dozens injured in a string of suicides.
Security personnel of the CRPF were killed and tolls expected to rise in Sri Lanka after Easter Day bomb blasts at 3.
We need to prepare our officers to manage all sorts of incidents in Singapore. Even when things are not happening here, we need to prepare them such that even if it happens, they have the experience to manage it well, to manage it effectively. The Home Team Academy of Singapore is the corporate university. We have uniformed officers from the different agencies such as the police, the Singapore Prison Service, the Singapore Civil Defence Force, the Central Narcotics Bureau. They come to Home Team Academy to prepare prior to major deployments. So my team and I are responsible in conceptualizing simulation exercises. Everyone, welcome to the Home Team Simulation Center. Your mission or the purpose of your exercise data is to respond to any contingency that may take place within the area of operations. Most of you will be later on positioned at the command post, whereby you will be taking up different roles. The Home Team Simulation system focuses on command post kind of exercise. So we make sure that the setting, the layout of the command post mimics the actual command post that the officers will be operating in when they are managing actual incidents. There were different groups of officers. One to be exercised as the command post at the main headquarters. One command post that enters officers from the unit that is responsible in overseeing the area of operations, and another officer who's a frontline responder, so he is able to move within the simulated area of operation. So I also have a team of role players who would feed you with all the necessary information. They will actually be your ground officers. Do exactly what you will do if you are at the actual command post. The difference only lies with the fact that instead of looking at actual humans in your CCTVs, you are now looking at avatars. Officers' exercise will commence in 5, 4, 3, 2, start with Sector 1.
Sector 1, Nadia. I see some smoke coming out outside Ion Orchard. Can you ask the ground forces to run a check to see what's happening there?
SOGF Echo 1 to 5. Take note. From my CCTV, I can see there is actually smoke coming out from the underground MRT. Can you kindly make a check?
Roger 5-1 to Echo 1 proceeding down from Ngee City. Over.
For that officer at the incident location itself, he is able to move within the area of simulated environment. But the setting itself mimics the actual location, which in this case, incidents take place at Orchard Road, which is a popular shopping belt in Singapore.
Can you update PICP about the smoke and also inform that you can see casualties outside already?
Okay, now the forward command post have informed the main command post, so just take note.
SOGF1, do you know how many ambulances we already have at Orchard Turn?
Yes, we got 6.
We have 6. Can we direct them on here? I was deployed as the OC control, the person in charge of the command post. The role of the command post is actually to have command and control of all the forces that are deployed on the ground. The command post decides who responds to what. At the same time, the command post is the one that activates our other contingency forces that we have, specialist forces that we have.
Sir, sorry, we got confirmation of CA incident and in front of Wisma, K1 bar. So anyone supposed to investigate here must be in your CA suits, all of us.
SOGF1, inform our responding resources to don their PPE before they arrive at the scene, bring along their escape hoods, ask them to approach via different routes. Their mission is to evacuate people away from the affected area to a distance of at least 200 meters. I think the problem with chemical agent attacks is, first of all, is to know whether is it a genuine attack. It could be an innocent incident that took place because of an explosion of some factory nearby, or it could be a terrorist attack. So we do not know yet. SOGF1, can you find out from me how many are dead, how many are unwell?
Currently, I have 11 casualties.
So we look out for specific signs, like are there 2 or more people who are facing the same symptoms, vomiting, tearing, coughing, and if we see that there are similar symptoms in various unrelated persons, it's a sign of confirmation for us.
I think the SCDF has arrived, so they are coordinating with our ground forces to bring the casualties out of the hot zone that we call it, which is where the smoke is emitted.
If we are using virtual reality, we can definitely do this kind of scenario over and over again. And one time you can have a scenario of building hostage. So another maybe you have a scenario of airplane hijacking, for example. Another case is you have to, let's say, fight terrorists in an open space. So you can change the environment very quickly, and you can still get I'd say about 80% of the benefit in terms of the sense of realness and how you communicate with your team.
What we do is whenever the trainers have an incident or a scenario in mind, possibly extracted from happenings in other countries or those that happen locally, we can quickly translate it into training materials, training visuals, and use it to train our officers.
Oh, there's a drone sighted, Okay, can you SOGF1 dispatch officers, our ground officers, tell them that a drone has been sighted between Ngee City and Paragon. Ask them to look for the operator.
There is a what? Drone. Okay. Can we see the drone?
You occasionally update that you are still finding the drone operator but unable to make it, see whether they can actually locate via their CCTVs. Okay, stand by. Now I'm going to play the green car already.
Can you see the green car that's along Orchard Road? Can you zoom into that, please? Get officers to respond to the incident.
So we need to find out what this green car is doing here. So send a quick response patrol team to identify the vehicle plate number.
On a normal day, you would think that the car has broken down. But now that there's a major event going on and the threat level is a bit different, so we took the car, the green car that was parked along Orchard Road, we treated it very seriously. We immediately sent our resources to find out what was going on.
Okay, stand by. At my call, make the car explode. Okay, explode now.
There's an explosion. A car just exploded.
Guys, explosion, explosion.
SOGF 2, tell TP that to stop traffic along Orchard Road. Entirely stop it right now.
Currently, there are TP members nearby the incident.
SOGF 1, we're activating the major incident contingency plans, dispatch team leader, and as many officers as you can to the scene.
Okay, stand by. I want you all to hear out what are their reactions and all, what are the kind of responsive resources that they want, and then just update me.
Can you send 10 crowd control officers and also 4 scooter patrols over to the incident location immediately?
We record everything that the directions given by the participants, their body reactions, how they behave, whether they're stressed up, whether the directions given to their subordinates are clear, because within that command post itself, you have different chain of commands. So you have officers looking at their superiors for directions, and then you have the officers trying to coordinate the resources.
We can see what's going on, we can see bodies lying around, we can see damage. And so the next priority is then how do we gain control of that situation.
We see a vehicle that has exploded right in front of a concert. This is likely to be an IED planted in the vehicle that has exploded. We have also activated our K9, our dogs, to come in to detect any potential secondary devices.
Okay, SOGF 1, inform the responding officers not to touch the vehicle.
SODF 2, can you help me check with TP why are the traffic still moving? Can you ask them to stop?
Do you need help? We can get TP to help your guys to go in.
Can. Sometimes the participants will ask for resources, and they know that, in terms of providing the resources, my team could do it in just a click of a button. For instance, you want the firefighters to come in to douse off the fire. We can just do it at a click of a button, and you can see all the vehicles, all the resources coming in. Again, we make it realistic. If we know that in real time it will take 5 minutes or it will take 10 minutes for the resources to come in, then we'll make sure that we will only provide those resources in 10 minutes.
Command post to LF 111. Have you managed to tackle the fire over?
Trooper 1 to command post, we are still trying to tackle the fire situation over.
Roger.
SOGF 1, ask the ground resources to report how many casualties are dead or injured as a result of the explosion.
Sir, total count of casualties, 10 2 fatalities.
Exercise card. Thank you.
So the situation in the forward command post can get very tense. So there were a lot of things that we need to know so that we can react on time and accordingly, and we need to prioritize.
Actually, this is actually very realistic. It is a very good training platform to actually test out all the different scenarios whereby our officers can train to think through how to do it in the actual scenario.
VR allows us to take our officers into a deeper level of training. It's not just about remembering what to do, but it's actually executing what you have learned. And that requires them to be able to analyze what's going on, understand what's going on. Then you have to recollect based on your own experiences, your own understanding and your own learnings. How do you deal with this incident?
All your actions, all your video shots, all your terminals.
They're anxious or not, right? You can actually start training people for really hostile situations.
We are always preparing our officers to manage all sorts of incidents, and that's where all this simulation capability comes in to test all this out. We hope that it will never happen, but we make sure that if it indeed happens, our officers are ready to manage the incident. Hence why we need all these different training platforms to prepare our officers.